Right, welcome back to the David Brown 990 restoration. For those of you new, my name's Barry. Today we're going to pop the dash in place. So we're going to take the steering wheel off, we're going to pull the throttle arrangement out of the steering column, we're going to put our dashboard in place so we can sort out what's going on with this damage here. We're going to stick a bit of tape across, we're going to put our throttle linkage back through, and we're going to draw on it, around it, so that we can see where we need to be with the repair, because as you can see, for whatever reason, this has got a lot of damage here. Can we see that? Got a lot of damage here. I don't know how it's happened, but we need to get that repaired. So we're going to look at that. We want the dashboard on so we can then start with the electrical, because we need to get that repaired, we need to get it painted, put in place so we can get the ignition switches in and the control gauges in, so we can start and run some wires. Now, to put it in place, I've got what we call spire nuts. These are spire number 6 and 8. So I'm assuming that means 6 mils. I don't like mixing metrics and imperials on old tractors, but you got to do what you got to do, haven't you? They're these little plates. We used to use them on cars years ago for keeping dashboards and door panels and things like that in place, where you had very thin sheet metal. You would push a sheet metal into the gap there. It's like a paper clip, so you'd push a sheet metal into there, and then there's a hole with what is like a captive thread on the back. And we've got some little stainless steel self-tapping screws to go into them. Now, bearing in mind that this is purely and simply a location job today, pop that on, tape on, screws in, pop it back together, see where everything lies so we can get at it and repair this. Then what we're going to do, we'll take it back down home, we'll get it all cleaned, degreased, finished. I might actually paint the whole thing with that anti-rust paint and see what it does. You can see it's starting to go a little bit surface rusty again. I guess not even that clean at the minute. At least it's not good enough to paint, is it? And then it'll get a wash with petrol, it'll get primed, and it'll get painted with orchid white. Then it'll come back up and get put on the tractor permanently, so we can get the wiring done, won't it? Right, let's nip next door, get our tractor sorted. I'm in two minds whether just to do this in the garage today, because at the minute it's a nice day. It's been raining this morning, well, it's been showering this morning. It's forecast again for showers this afternoon. I don't want to put everything outside to find that halfway through we've got to push it all back indoors, and for what we're doing, I don't think we need to. Right, let's nip next door, get set up, and we'll get this put on. Back in a minute. While I put this towel on top of the diesel tank today, try and stop the echo, right? Because the echo in here off this is unbelievable. First thing I'm going to do, I'm going to take the steering wheel off. Now, in here, put a tub of grease there. In here is a woodruff key. Careful when you lift it. And if you look at the top there, the woodruff key should be facing me. There it is. Now, it's quite tight. I thought it was going to be fairly slack, but it isn't. And I want it out, because if I don't take it out, sod's law will. should have had some side cutter, shouldn't I? There we go. Woodruff key. Put it in my magnetic tray. Let's find somewhere safe for our steering wheel. And for the time being, right, we're back. So, next thing, I need to strip the bottom off here. There's a couple of nuts on here, and I've got a bag. And I'll just tip them screws into there in the place. So we've got an empty bag. Right, I want to strip this off. There's two little nuts on here. And can we drag that through forward a bit? Is there room? Just to clear that. Now, we'll take the arm off the bottom. Pop that in there. I have got new friction discs, spring washers, and a nut for the bottom of this. Right. We'll give this a little. Oh, it's not that bad, is it? Didn't need the punch. Pop that out of there into our little bag. Everything goes in a bag. Bottom off, into the bag. Right, we'll seal that bag up now. Take my throttle arm out. Okay, let's have a look at this. There's a hole in the middle here, but there is no hole in the fuel tank. There's a hole matches up with that one. And a hole matches up with that one, right. And we don't have any holes corresponding with these ones. So we'll take this off and put two of our spring clips in here just so we can get a hold of this temporary. Put a couple of these in and it'll hold it in place long enough for us to. There's a hole there, but it didn't correspond with our dashboard. There's a lot on this tractor is not matching up with what you would think. For instance, wasn't somebody put in the comments, this throttle arrangement was off a tractor that has the floor throttle on it, and that's why there's the collar and the spring was on the original shaft. Right, now we need to locate that when we put the dash on. Same with that one. Let's use the... Right, let's get this lined up so we can get some screws put into it. One. Drop one. That's why you always bring spares in it. That's why you always bring spares with you. Let's say this is purely and simply. There, that one, we can get a screw in there. That'll line up eventually. Let's get a screw around the other side. Sound like a bishop in a brothel, doesn't it? Get a screw around the other side. As I say, never ever eat bananas when you're about to do a job. The agony it's causing me today. These screws aren't the right screws for this. I need something a bit bigger. I think these are probably 5mm or something diameter. Okay, that looks pretty good, doesn't it? Let's get ourselves back round the other side. At least we can move around in here, can't we? Huh? Now, if I put that in, well. This is what makes you think, doesn't it? What the hell is going on here? Because that dashboard doesn't fit, and I'm wondering, is that why it's damaged here? Is it damaged because this dashboard hasn't fitted, so they've just left the screws out? Because I can't remember if it was screwed on or not when it came. Keep that out there. Let's have a look and see if that changes the perspective here. It does, doesn't it? If that's pushed out into the right place, but I'll tell you what, there's not a lot of clearance there, is there? Not a lot of clearance at all. In fact, what I'm going to do is I'm going to change the position of that. I'm going to come down here and just widen that a touch, because that let's try something. do some little adjustments. Right, happy with that there, because it's not, you can see though where it's been rubbing now in the bottom of that groove. So now what we can do, get ourselves a bit of tape. Put that in there. This is real farmyard stuff, isn't it? Pen. We're back. We're back. Okay, so I've got a pencil here. That's better. Just going to draw on there a rough outline of the hole that needs to be in there, and then we can take that home. We can cut a piece of steel out. Let's take this off. We'll cut a bit of steel out. We'll clean that up to clean edges. We'll cut a little bit of tin out that fits the edges, and we'll braze it in place, and then we'll reposition this hole nicely. And then what we'll do is, when we come to fit it, we'll make sure that everything fits in there beautifully, won't we? Okay. Tell you what, mate. Somebody asked us why I stopped painting parts. Why have I painted some parts and not others? And I said, because I realised, and I think it was, again, I think it was Lance was saying, when you paint your parts, you start putting the tractor back together, you always end up damaging the paint, like I've just done there. So he says, Lance tended to prime the difficult parts. So probably like down behind the fuel pump, etc. You would get in there, you would splash a bit of primer and a bit of paint on there just to stop it rusting, but leave the front side so that it could come back later and tidy up. Get rid of these wires, well, of course they were in the picture the last time, weren't they? So you could tidy up the paint job, but then when you were messing on with your tractor, you're not broken hearted, are you, when you scratch things? Because primer's easier to mess on with than top coat. And then we'll have to get ourselves some slightly bigger screws, won't we? Then I can get myself the ignition switch and all that I need. Okay. So, as I say, I've drawn on there roughly where our hole needs to be, and you can see up here the outline of the damage. So I'll get a bit of plate, we'll square them edges up, braze a bit of plate in, take that back out, that'll leave a hole in the middle. Now, we'll get one of them clips, look, and we'll just put one of them clips on there while we remember. And we'll do the same for the other side. Now that dashboard got a hole in the middle. So I might actually, when I come back up with the dashboard complete, I might drill a hole through here on this flange and put a clip on there. In fact, it makes sense too, doesn't it? Just to secure everything. Then we'll be able to get in, do our wiring, put our bits and pieces right. I'll just pop that back in there so that I don't. As I say, I've got a new friction disc and the new nut for the bottom and the washer for the bottom, because I had to cut the old throttle lever out because it was so corroded and you couldn't get into it because you would have damaged the collar. So I had to cut that out to get into it. That's it for this video. As I say, all I wanted to do was mark the position of that throttle rod going down through there so we can get that dashboard repaired. We'll get it painted, we'll get it back up, and we'll do another video fitting that back on and getting everything sorted. But we will be fitting it again before we paint it, just to make sure that that rod and the hole correspond with each other. Right, thanks very much for visiting me, guys. As always, your time is greatly appreciated when you come visiting us to see what we're doing. Hopefully we'll get that done the next couple of days. At least it's shed work, innit? So we're due for a storm and a load of rain. It's supposed to be raining this afternoon again. But we're due for a storm this weekend. I might get that done in the garage this weekend. We might get it back up early next week to have a go at putting it back on. We'll see. We'll just see. Right, guys. Thanks very much for visiting. As I say, your time's always greatly appreciated. But remember, don't overthink it. It's only nuts and bolts. I'll catch you in the next one. Ta-ra now.